In the year 2345, humanity was not the proud and respected species it had hoped to be. Instead, Earth was the laughingstock of the galaxy. It all started when Daniel Brooks, a skilled diplomat with a calm demeanor, led Earth's first official delegation into deep space. His assistant, Clara Lewis, a sharp and resourceful woman, stood by his side as they boarded humanity's finest spaceship, eager to represent their planet in negotiations with the Zorathan Empire. The Zorathians were one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, known for their towering metallic cities and mastery over energy manipulation. Humanity hoped to establish trade agreements, share knowledge, and take its place among the stars. The journey to Zorath Prime, the Empire's capital planet, was long but filled with hope. Daniel and Clara spent hours preparing speeches, rehearsing gestures of goodwill, and practicing the complex Zorathan language. They'd wanted everything to be perfect. When they finally arrived, the Zorathians greeted them with polite curiosity. At first, the delegation stepped out of their ship wearing their best formal attire, carrying gifts crafted by Earth's finest artisans. But the moment the Zorathians saw Earth's vessel, their expressions changed. What began as quiet murmurs turned into outright laughter. The Zorathan leader, a tall being with shimmering silver skin and glowing eyes, approached Daniel and Clara. "This is your greatest achievement?" he asked, his voice laced with mockery. He gestured toward the Earth ship, which looked primitive compared to the sleek, glowing vessels of the Zorathians. Its metal hull was dented from years of use, and its engines sputtered faintly even while idling. The Zorathians circled the craft, pointing at its outdated design and chuckling amongst themselves. One of them even mimicked the sound of its struggling engine, causing others to burst into fits of laughter. Daniel tried to maintain his composure. "We may not have your level of technology yet," he said firmly, "but we are quick learners. We seek partnership, not pity." His words, however, only fueled more amusement. The Zorathians dismissed Earth's delegation without further discussion, refusing to engage in any meaningful dialogue. Clara clenched her fists in frustration, but remained silent, knowing that arguing would only make things worse. Back on Earth, news of the failed mission spread quickly. People watched recordings of the encounter, feeling both anger and shame. Social media platforms lit up with memes mocking humanity's efforts. Some called it a national embarrassment. Others argued it was proof that Earth wasn't ready to join the galactic stage. Politicians debated whether humanity should retreat from space exploration altogether or double down on advancing its technology. For Daniel, the failure weighed heavily on his shoulders. He locked himself in his office for days, replaying the events in his mind, searching for what he could have done differently. But amid the despair, there were sparks of determination. Scientists around the world vowed to push harder, to innovate faster. Engineers worked late nights, sketching designs for better ships and more efficient energy systems. Even ordinary citizens felt a renewed sense of purpose. If the galaxy thought humanity was weak, then humanity would prove them wrong. Little did anyone know, buried deep beneath Antarctica's frozen surface, something extraordinary waited to be discovered, something that would change everything. As weeks passed, rumors began circulating about strange findings during an archaeological expedition in Antarctica. Reports mentioned unusual artifacts glowing faintly with an otherworldly light, though details were scarce. Whispers grew louder. Perhaps this discovery held the key to redeeming Earth's reputation. For now, though humanity remained the butt of the galaxy's jokes, a position it desperately wanted to escape. Deep beneath the icy expanse of Antarctica, a team of researchers stumbled upon something that would change everything. The Quantum Research Institute had been conducting routine geological surveys when their sensors detected unusual energy readings emanating from deep underground. At first, they thought it was a glitch or perhaps a natural phenomenon. But curiosity drove them to dig further. What they uncovered was beyond anything they could have imagined. The excavation revealed fragments of an ancient structure buried under layers of ice and rock. The pieces were unlike any material known to Earth, smooth, metallic, yet warm. To the touch, they emitted a faint hum, as if alive with energy. Leading physicist Ethan Grant examined the artifacts closely, his brow furrowed in concentration. "This isn't human," he muttered to himself. His colleague Dr. Laura Kim nodded in agreement. "It's not even from our dimension," she added, her voice tinged with awe. Ethan and Laura spent weeks studying the fragments, running tests, and analyzing their properties. The materials seemed to defy the laws of physics. They shifted between solid and liquid states without losing integrity, and their molecular structure appeared to rearrange itself constantly. Even more intriguing was the energy signature they emitted. It didn't match anything recorded in Earth's databases. Laura theorized that the artifacts might belong to a civilization capable of manipulating higher dimensions, realms where time and space behaved differently than in the three-dimensional world humans inhabited. As word of the discovery spread, excitement rippled through the scientific community. Governments around the globe took notice, eager to harness whatever secrets the artifacts held. NASA quickly assembled a task force to investigate further. Naming the project Ascension. The name carried weight. It symbolized humanity's ambition to rise above its limitations and cling a place among the stars. Ethan became the head of the project, with Laura serving as his chief advisor. The team faced countless challenges as they worked to understand the alien technology. The fragments resisted traditional methods of analysis, often behaving unpredictably. One day, a fragment levitated off the lab table and shattered into smaller pieces before reassembling itself moments later. Another time, the entire lab experienced a brief power surge when one of the fragments reacted violently to an experimental scan. Despite these setbacks, Ethan remained optimistic. Every failure brings us closer to understanding, he told his team during a particularly grueling late-night session. Laura, however, grew increasingly cautious. She noticed patterns in the way the fragments responded to certain stimuli, almost as if they were communicating. What if this isn't just technology? She asked Ethan one evening as they reviewed data. What if it's sentient? Her question hung in the air, unsettling, but impossible to ignore. If the fragments were indeed alive, then humanity wasn't merely uncovering tools, it was interacting with something far greater and more mysterious. Despite the risks, progress continued. The team managed to piece together a partial blueprint embedded within the fragment's energy signatures. It depicted what appeared to be a spacecraft, but not like any ship humanity had ever built. This design incorporated elements of the seventh dimension, allowing it to bend reality itself. Realizing the potential implications, Ethan pitched the idea of constructing a prototype based on the blueprint. It was a bold move, fraught with uncertainty, but the promise of interdimensional travel was too compelling to resist. Approval came swiftly. Backed by unprecedented funding from global governments, engineers joined the project, working alongside physicists to bring the vision to life. Chief engineer Ryan Miller led the construction effort, pouring every ounce of his expertise into building what would become humanity's most ambitious endeavor. Yet as the prototype began to take shape, whispers of hope spread across Earth. For the first time since the humiliating encounter with the Zarathians, people dared to dream of redemption, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. Unbeknownst to the team, their work had already drawn attention from beyond Earth. In the vastness of space, distant eyes observed the fledgling project with keen interest. Some saw opportunity, others saw danger. But for now, the focus remained on completing the prototype, a vessel that might unlock doors no one had dared to open before. The construction of the prototype ship, nicknamed Eclipse was no small feat. It required the combined efforts of engineers, physicists, and technicians working around the clock in a top-secret facility hidden deep within the Nevada desert. Chief engineer Ryan Miller led the team with unwavering determination, his mind constantly racing to solve the endless challenges that arose. Beside him was astrophysicist Kate Bennett, whose expertise in dimensional physics proved invaluable as they worked to stabilize the ship's core, a pulsating sphere of energy derived from the alien artifacts. From the outside, Eclipse looked nothing like traditional spaceships. Its sleek black exterior shimmered faintly, almost blending into the shadows. The hull was not made of metal, but of an adaptive material that seemed to shift and ripple when touched. Inside, the control panels were unlike anything seen before, smooth surfaces lit by glowing patterns that rearranged themselves depending on the user's intent. There were no buttons or switches. Instead, commands were issued through gestures and thought alone, thanks to neural interfaces designed by Kate. But building Eclipse was far from smooth sailing. The seventh dimensional technology was unpredictable, often behaving in ways the team couldn't anticipate during one test. The ship's core surged with power, causing the entire facility to shake violently. Alarms blared as technicians scrambled to contain the reaction. Ryan shouted orders over the chaos, his voice steady despite the panic around him. "Shut it down now," he barked, his hands flying over the controls. Just as the situation seemed about to spiral out of control, Kate intervened, rerouting energy flows with precision, timing the shaking stopped, leaving everyone breathless but alive. Such close calls became routine. Each failure brought lessons, though, and slowly the team began to understand the quirks of the alien tech. They learned how to temper the core's volatile nature, stabilizing it enough for short bursts of activity. Still, doubts lingered. Could humanity truly master something so advanced, or were they playing with forces they didn't fully comprehend? Despite the risks, morale remained high. The crew knew they were part of something historic. Late nights turned into early mornings as they fine-tuned every detail of *Eclipse*. Ryan and Kate developed a strong partnership, balancing each other's strengths, while Ryan focused on the mechanical aspects, ensuring the ship could withstand the stresses of interdimensional travel. Kate delved into the theoretical side, mapping out potential routes through the seventh dimension. Their collaboration became the backbone of the project. As the final stages of construction approached, Commander Alex Carter joined the team. A decorated astronaut with years of experience in deep space missions, Alex was chosen to lead the first voyage aboard *Eclipse*. With him came Samantha Sam Reed, a skilled pilot known for her quick reflexes and calm under pressure, and Dr. Noah Patel, a brilliant scientist specializing in xenobiology. Together, they formed the core crew tasked with testing the limits of humanity's greatest achievement. Training was intense. The trio spent weeks learning how to operate *Eclipse*, adapting to its unique systems and preparing for the unknown dangers of the seventh dimension. Alex drilled them relentlessly, simulating emergencies and pushing them to their limits. "We can't afford mistakes out there," he reminded them during one particularly grueling session. "If something goes wrong, we'll be on our own." Finally, after months of hard work, *Eclipse* was ready. The day of the activation loomed large, filled with both excitement and anxiety. The entire world watched as cameras broadcast the event live. Leaders from across the globe sent messages of support, while skeptics whispered warnings of hubris. For better or worse, humanity was about to take its first step beyond the boundaries of reality. Ryan stood beside Alex as the countdown began, his heart pounding in his chest. Kate monitored the core from her station, fingers poised over the controls. Sam and Noah exchanged nervous glances, knowing their lives depended on the success of this mission. As the numbers ticked down to 0, the room fell silent. Then, with a low hum that grew into a deafening roar, *Eclipse* came to life. Its surface glowed with an eerie blue light, casting long shadows across the facility. For a moment, everything seemed perfect, but then reality itself began to warp as *Eclipse* roared to life. The crew braced themselves for what was to come. The ship vibrated with a strange energy, and its glowing blue surface pulsed like a living thing. Commander Alex Carter gripped the edges of his seat, his eyes fixed on the monitors displaying streams of data. Samantha Sam Reed sat at the controls, her hands hovering over the interface as if ready to act at a moment's notice. Dr. Noah Ple leaned forward, studying the readings with wide-eyed fascination. For a brief moment, everything seemed fine, almost too calm. Then reality shifted. The first sign something was wrong came when the stars outside the viewport began to stretch and twist. They didn't move normally. Instead, they elongated into streaks of light that spiraled in unnatural patterns. Sam frowned, glancing at Alex. "That's not right," she said, her voice tight. Before anyone could respond, the ship lurched violently, throwing them against their restraints. Alarms blared and the lights flickered as the hum of the engine grew louder, almost deafening. "What's happening?" Noah shouted over the noise, gripping his chair tightly. "We're entering the seventh dimension." Kate Bennett's voice crackled through the comms from the ground station. She sounded as stunned as the crew felt. "Hold on," but holding on wasn't enough. The world around them dissolved into chaos. Time itself seemed to unravel. One moment, Alex saw Sam adjusting the controls. The next, he watched her turn back time, undoing the very action he had just witnessed. Memories flooded his mind, things that hadn't happened yet but felt eerily familiar. He shook his head, trying to focus, but the disorientation was overwhelming. For Sam, the experience was even stranger. She felt as though she were living multiple timelines at once in one version of events she successfully stabilized the ship. In another, she failed completely. These conflicting possibilities played out simultaneously in her mind, making it hard to tell which actions were real and which were imagined. Her hands trembled as she fought to regain control, relying on instinct more than logic. Noah, meanwhile, stared in awe at the swirling void outside the windows. Planets folded into themselves like paper cranes, and rivers of light twisted into impossible shapes. He muttered notes under his breath, trying to make sense of the phenomena. "It's beautiful," he whispered, though his voice carried an edge of fear, but dangerous. Amid the chaos, shadowy figures began to appear just beyond the protective field surrounding Eclipse. They weren't solid. They flickered in and out of existence, their form shifting unpredictably. At first glance, they seemed curious, watching the ship with an intelligence that sent chills down the crew's spines. Were they friend or foe? No one could say for sure. Alex snapped into action, determined to bring order to the madness. "Sam, focus on stabilizing the core. Noah, help me recalibrate the dimensional drive." His commands cut through the confusion, grounding the team together. They worked frantically, using every trick they'd learned during training. Slowly, painfully, they managed to wrestle some semblance of control back from the chaotic forces threatening to tear them apart. Just when it seemed they might be lost forever, the ship shuddered again, and then everything went still. The alarm stopped, the vibrations ceased, and the eerie glow faded. The crew sat in stunned silence, catching their breath. Outside the viewport, the distorted stars returned to their normal positions, twinkling peacefully against the blackness of space. They had survived, but where were they now? Noah broke the silence, pointing at a glowing pattern etched into the fabric of space itself. It looked like a map, intricate and vast, stretching across the cosmos. "What is that?" he asked, his voice filled with wonder. Alex studied it carefully, his expression unreadable. "I don't know," he admitted, "but I think we're about to find out." The crew of Eclipse stared at the glowing map etched into the fabric of space, their minds racing with questions. What was it? Who or what had created it? And why had they been led to this strange place? For a moment, no one spoke. The silence in the ship was heavy, broken only by the soft hum of the engines and the occasional beep of the monitors. Commander Alex Carter finally broke the quiet. "We need to figure out what this is," he said firmly, his voice steady despite the uncertainty swirling around them. "Noah, analyze the map. See if you can find any patterns or markers that might tell us where we are." No, Patel nodded, already pulling up data on his console. His fingers moved quickly over the interface as he studied the glowing lines and symbols. "It's incredible," he murmured, more to himself than to the others. "This isn't just a map, it's a network. It connects points across dimensions like pathways through the multiverse." Sam leaned forward from her seat, her sharp eyes scanning the viewport. "Do you think it's a way to navigate?" she asked, her tone cautious but curious. "If we follow it, could it lead us back home?" "Maybe," No replied, though his voice carried a hint of doubt. "But there's something else here too. Look at these shapes. They're not random. They form clusters, almost like destinations." As Noah continued his analysis, Alex kept a close watch on the shadowy figures lingering outside the ship. They hadn't disappeared after the chaos subsided. Instead, they seemed to be waiting, watching silently. Their presence was unsettling, but so far they hadn't shown any signs of hostility. Still, Alex didn't trust them. "Keep an eye on those things," he told Sam. "If they move closer, let me know immediately." S nodded, her gaze flicking between the map and the shadowy entities. She didn't like the feeling of being watched, but she forced herself to focus. "What do you think they want?" she asked quietly, half expecting no answer. "I don't know," Alex admitted, "but I doubt they're here for a friendly chat." Meanwhile, Noah made a startling discovery. Buried within the map's intricate design was a series of coordinates highlighted in brighter light than the rest. "These stand out," he said, pointing to the glowing points on the screen. "They could be key locations, or maybe warnings." Alex considered this for a moment. "Let's head to the nearest one," he decided. "If this map is guiding us somewhere, we need to follow it, but stay alert. We don't know what we're walking into." With Sam at the controls, Eclipse began to move, following the glowing path outlined in the map. As they traveled, the environment around them grew stranger. Stars twisted into impossible shades, and streams of light flowed like rivers through the void. Time itself felt distorted, stretching and compressing unpredictably. At times, the crew experienced déjà vu, reliving moments they were sure hadn't happened, yet other times memories of events yet to occur flashed in their minds, leaving them disoriented but determined to press on. After what felt like hours but could have been mere minutes, they reached the first set of coordinates. What they found there took their breath away. Floating in the emptiness of space was a massive Structure shaped like a sphere with countless spires jutting outward, its surface shimmered with colors that shifted constantly, making it seem alive. Strange symbols covered its exterior, glowing faintly as if inviting them closer. "This has to be important." "No," whispered his voice, filled with awe. "Whoever built this must have been incredibly advanced or incredibly dangerous." Alex added, his instincts telling him to proceed with caution. "Let's scan it before we get too close." As Sam initiated the scans, the shadowy figures reappeared, now closer than before. This time, they didn't just watch. They began to move, drifting toward the ship with deliberate slowness. The crew tensed, unsure of what would happen next. Suddenly a message appeared on their screens, written in simple but clear language: "***, you are not alone." ***. No one spoke. The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Whoever or whatever was behind this knew they were there, and now humanity's fate rested on how they chose to respond. The message on the screen sent a chill through the crew of **Eclipse**. "You are not alone." The words were simple, yet they carried an undeniable weight. Commander Alex Carter stared at the display, his mind racing. Was this a greeting, a warning, or something else entirely? He glanced at Sam and Noah, both of whom looked equally uneasy. "Should we respond?" Sam asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her fingers hovered over the controls, ready to act, but unsure what to do. Alex hesitated. "Not yet," he said finally. "We don't know who or what we're dealing with. Let's gather more information first." Noah nodded in agreement, his eyes glued to the scanners. As they analyzed the massive structure ahead, "It's emitting some kind of energy," he reported. "I've never seen anything like it. It's layered, almost like it's hiding something inside." As they studied the sphere, the shadowy figures outside the ship grew bolder. They drifted closer, their forms shifting and flickering, though they still hadn't shown any signs of aggression. Their presence was unsettling. Alex kept one hand near the controls for the ship's defensive systems, just in case. Suddenly another message appeared on the screen: "***, come closer, learn ***. This time, there was no mistaking the intent. Whoever or whatever was communicating wanted them to approach the structure. Alex exchanged a glance with Sam and No. "What do you think?" he asked. "It could be a trap," Sam said cautiously, "but if we leave now, we might miss our only chance to understand what this place is." Noah chimed in, his curiosity outweighing his caution. "She's right. This could be the key to understanding the seventh dimension and maybe even the artifacts we found back on Earth." After a brief pause, Alex made his decision. "All right, but we stay alert. If anything feels off, we pull back immediately." With that, Sam guided **Eclipse** toward the glowing sphere. As they drew nearer, the structure seemed to pulse with light, its colors shifting faster and brighter. Strange symbols on its surface rearranged themselves, forming patterns that looked almost like writing. Noah leaned forward, squinting at the markings. "I think it's trying to communicate again," he said excitedly. "Look, it's repeating certain sequences." Before anyone could respond, the ship shuddered slightly as a beam of light shot out from the sphere, enveloping **Eclipse**. For a moment, panic gripped the crew, but instead of harm, the light brought clarity. Images flooded their minds, scenes of ancient civilizations thriving among the stars, harnessing technologies far beyond human comprehension. They saw beings manipulating dimensions, folding space and time like fabric, and then abruptly, the images shifted to something darker: destruction, worlds collapsing into voids, entire galaxies consumed by an unseen force. When the vision ended, the crew sat in stunned silence. "What was that?" Sam asked, her voice trembling. "I think it was a history lesson," No replied, his face pale. "Those civilizations they created this place, maybe as a refuge or a weapon or both." Alex clenched his jaw, piecing together what they had witnessed, and that darkness at the end, that must be why they built it. Whatever destroyed those worlds is still out there. Before they could discuss further, the ship's sensors picked up movement. The shadowy figures had surrounded **Eclipse**, pressing closer than ever before. This time, however, they weren't passive. One of them reached out, its form solidifying briefly as it touched the ship's protective field. A surge of energy coursed through the hull, causing the lights inside to flicker. "We need to go now," Alex shouted. Sam didn't hesitate. She activated the dimensional drive, pulling **Eclipse** away from the sphere and the mysterious entities. As the ship accelerated, the glowing map reappeared, guiding them Toward another set of coordinates behind them, the shadowy figures dissolved into this. Is the end of this part of story, next part coming soon. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel for more interesting videos.